I literally had zero energy at this point in my life. If you're someone who is going through that process now, or you're postpartum and you're worried about getting to your before baby body, let me be living proof to you that not only is it doable, but you can achieve it and then some, okay? You can look like your pre-baby body and even better if you wanted to.
She lost 30 kg after her first baby in less than 2 years, and now she graduated my program and she became an online coach to help other women do the same. Alisa gonna explain exactly how she lost this 30 kg. If you're a mom who's stuck after her first pregnancy, or if you want to lose weight before becoming a mom, watch this video till the end. You're gonna get a lot of inspiration, and Alisa gonna explain everything it took and everything she did to lose this weight.
Hi everyone, my name is Elisa. If you don't know me already, my name is Elisa and I am now a fitness fat loss coach. I am also a registered nurse, okay? I've been nursing for nearly 5 years now, and I just wanted to share with you all my journey, my own personal weight loss journey, and how I got to where I am today, okay? So this is me pre-baby. Pre-pregnancy, pre-baby, I'm here on holiday, living my life. I was in good shape before getting pregnant. I was into the gym, I was into fitness. I wasn't necessarily strict and I didn't really have any goals. I was just doing it because I enjoyed it. But I was in general good shape, right? I was around 75 kilos. And I would always, you know, as most people do, I would hover between 80 to 75. I think the least I ever was maybe around 73. But I would always hover between those kilos. But I was comfortable, okay? I wasn't exactly the most confident, or I wasn't in love with my body, but I was comfortable, okay? This was me when I was comfortable. Like I said, good shape. I could wear clothes, you know, look good. Then I got pregnant. So this is me when I was pregnant with my son. I went from being 75 kilos, right? And I went up to 120 kilos pregnant. I had never reached ever in my life 3-digit weight numbers, okay? The most I'd ever been was maybe 80, but here I am, 120 kilos pregnant. I obviously knew getting pregnant, your body changes. You'll gain some weight and it goes through the changes, right? But I never expected my body to change this much. And towards the end of my pregnancy, that's when you start to get stuff like stretch marks, and it was really affecting like the way I would walk, and I was over it. I was over being pregnant. I did not want to be pregnant anymore. But, you know, you have to see it through to the end of the 9 months. And then after pregnancy, I gave myself 6 months, right? You know, when everyone tells you when you breastfeed, you know, you're going to lose the weight is just going to drop off. I really bought into that. A lot of women were telling me like the weight will drop off when you breastfeed. So I really bought into that. So for the first 6 months of my son's life, I just poured my energy and my time all into him, right? And I gave him my all. But 6 months passed by and I did not lose any weight. I lost, you know, the weight from the birth itself. I lost the majority of that weight, but I was 96 kilos. I wasn't that far off 100 kilos, so still the 3-digit numbers. Here I am, 96 kilos. These photos, when I took them, I was super ashamed. I was super distraught. I was super disappointed in myself, because how could I go from being this Elisa here, who was very in shape, very beautiful, you know, to then being this Elisa here, who was like 90. Couldn't recognize myself in the mirror, I'll be so honest with you. And I was heavy. I could feel it within myself. My clothes didn't fit me. It didn't matter if I bought bigger sizes. It just didn't look right. My clothes didn't fit me. I could feel it in myself when I'm walking. I couldn't even run down the road when doing like a quick sprint, you know, with your sisters or your cousins, or whoever gets there last is a loser, haha. I couldn't even run down the road. Like, that's how bad the weight was for my body. So something had to change, something had to give, right? I was very inspired by, I followed this coach on Instagram, and I was very inspired by his results that his clients have gotten, especially one of his clients really inspired me. So one day I just made the decision. I was like, I cannot keep doing this anymore and just waking up and being disgusted with myself. So I made the decision. I reached out and I jumped on a call with him, and I invested in a coach. Okay, yes, it was expensive, but I decided that at that time I couldn't let this continue, and I needed to get back to my pre-baby body. So I invested in a coach, and yes, it is expensive, and yes, it requires investment. Did I have the investment at the time? No. But what did I do is I asked my husband for some help, and I also took out a credit card to pay for this coach. it's not shameful to do something like that. If you really want something in life, you need to go for it, right? So my husband, I'll show you a picture of me and my husband here, very supportive man. He's also into fitness and into health. So when I approached him and I told him, hey, I'm thinking of investing into this coach for my weight loss, all I heard was do it. Do it. Go for it. If you feel like this is what you need to become yourself again and get that body that you had and be confident again, do it. My husband was extremely supportive. He helped me. And even during my weight loss process, my journey, he was even there for me. We went to the gym together, you know. But yeah, I had to invest in a coach. Not because I didn't know what I was doing, but because I didn't have the accountability, I didn't have the structure, and I just wanted someone who had done it before, who had coached others, and who knew what they were doing to just basically tell me, this is what you need to do. A, B, C, step 1, 2, 3, this is what you need to do. Stick to it, do it, and you'll see results. And guess what? I started seeing results. So this was probably in, let's say, April or March 2024. And then this was maybe around August time that same year. I'd started to lose the weight and I started to feel like myself slowly. This was on my birthday actually. I started to feel like myself again. Slowly and slowly I started to get my old self back. Obviously, still not in the best shape, but at least I was starting to be more confident. And that confidence also allowed me to start showing up for myself in the gym. I was starting to enjoy the gym again. I was starting to weight lift again, which I'd done previously before my pregnancy. And I was really starting to love the results. And then I was starting to feel more confident in going out and in my clothes again. I remember this was a brunch I went to, a birthday brunch, and this was the first time I ever actually felt like, wow, I look good again, you know? So yes, I invested in a coach, and that's how I started my weight loss journey. Mind you, I also got comfortable, okay? When you invest in a coach and you get some results and you finish your program, you think, great, I've gotten where I wanted to get to. And I did. I got to here. I was at my pre-baby weight, okay? I was 75 kilos. This was how much I weighed before my baby. But I wasn't 100% happy, okay? I reached my goal. I got what I wanted. But now there was a fire that lit under my arse and I wanted more. So right, after I finished with my coach, I got comfortable again and I went on a few holidays and I put a bit of weight back on, but it wasn't anything like before. It wasn't like when I was 96 kilos, right? I was still happy. I was still okay with how I looked, but I knew I could look better, right? So I put some weight back on. So what I did again, I reached out to a coach. The same coach who helped me the first time. I thought, I need this accountability and I need this structure and plan in my life again. But this time round, I did it with the help of peptides, right? So here I probably weighed around 78 kilos, okay? You know, I got down to 75 and I gained a bit of weight from holidays and stuff. So I was around 78 kilos. So 15 of those kilos that I lost originally was purely from the gym and the diet and the nutrition that my coach gave me. So 15 lost initially. And then I got to this stage. And that's when I joined another program with my coach, and that's when we started using peptides as well. So with the use of peptides this time and my coach, the results this time spoke for themselves, and I absolutely accelerated the progress and how I looked, and I went from being 78 kilos to 64 kilos. This was my trip before I went to Santorini, on my trip to Santorini. This is me at 64 kilos. This was me at my heaviest, 96, and this was me at my leanest, 64. And this took yet another 6 months. So in total, I spent probably 12 months completely dedicated on programs with my coach for weight loss. But those 6 months, there was obviously gaps and timelines in between. So in total, it took maybe a year and a half, right? But I went from being 96 kilos, okay, to then 64. Mind you, here, I was still breastfeeding, okay? And people always ask me, like, oh, how did you do it? You know, I have kids and I work. I also worked. I had to go back. When I was 9 months postpartum, not far off from here. So when I was here, when I was 9 months postpartum, I had to go back to work. This was me at the gym after a 12-hour shift, okay? My shifts would be from 7:30 a.m. till 8 p.m., okay? I get it. Everyone thinks they don't have time, but when you really want something and you want to work towards being the best version of yourself, you will find the time, okay? You will make the time. You have no choice but to prioritize the time for you. So I also had to juggle work. I had to juggle meal prepping around work. I also had to cook for my husband and my family and my now son, you know. I had to also schedule different life events around my life. It was difficult. It's not a very easy process. It was difficult at times, but to now where I am 64 kilos, knowing that I've come from here is a very proud achievement. And the feeling that you have at this level is nothing can compare, right? So people always ask me as well, oh, but you use peptides and you use the GLP and you use Reta. What about when you come off those things? Like, I want to be able to maintain those results. Here we are yet again. This was at the end of my 6 months, my second half of my weight loss journey, 6 months. The last 6 months I did with my coach. I had gotten to my goal weight, if then some, you know. I was 64 kilos. I really liked how I looked. But I didn't want to stay on a GLP. I didn't want to stay on peptides for life, right? So I stopped using a GLP here. And then this was me a few days ago, okay? This difference here is 3 months, okay? This just proves and goes to show that you do not need to stay on a GLP or peptides for that matter for life. You can use these tools to get to your goal. This was my goal. And then once you come off those tools, you can still maintain weight loss and you can still maintain great results. I didn't need to keep taking GLPs and suppress my appetite to get to this goal, right? I built more muscle. As you can see, I built more muscle. My waist is a lot thinner and a lot tighter than what it was 3 months ago. And it's only going to continue to get better and better. So yeah, this is my complete journey. And I couldn't have done any of it, obviously, without my very supportive husband. But if I had someone who wasn't as supportive and who wasn't as motivating, I would have still lost that weight and I would have still been the person I am today. Why? Because I wanted it. I wanted it so bad. I wanted to look like this version of me so bad. Nothing would have stopped me. No money, no investment, no time, no nothing. I wanted to be this version of myself so bad that nothing was stopping me, and it didn't. And here's where I am today. And I'm very proud of myself where I am today. And I just hope that this video can also inspire and motivate others who were on a similar or who are on a similar journey to me. And it doesn't matter if you've had 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4. It doesn't matter if you're 6 months postpartum, 6 years postpartum. You can change your physique at any point in your life. You just need the right structure, the right plan, and the accountability. The accountability is the biggest thing. For me, having that coach there that I'd have to speak to on a weekly basis, we would have weekly check-in calls, right? And knowing that, oh, crap, I didn't do everything that I needed to do this week. I'm going to let this person down, because we can let ourselves down very easily. We do it all the time and we just don't care. We brush it off because it's ourselves. But when you're letting someone else down and someone else is watching everything you're doing, that accountability there, I would say, was the biggest reason why I achieved this weight loss in the end and why I achieved these results. I couldn't do it without a coach. I'll be very honest with you. Some people do, and it's great and it's amazing for them, but I personally couldn't. And that's why I am here today, to also be there for people who also need a coach and can't do it without someone who'd been through it themselves. So if you're someone who is currently at this stage of their lives, hate the way they look, not confident, do not fit into the clothes that they want to wear, lack of energy. I literally had 0 energy at this point in my life. If you're someone who is going through that process now, or you're postpartum and you're worried about getting to your before baby body, let me be living proof to you that not only is it doable, but you can achieve it and then some, okay? You can look like your pre-baby body, and even better if you wanted to.
If you watch all this video and you're watching this right now, that shows me that you're committed and you're serious about your transformation. If you want my help to drop 10, 20 kg with or without peptide, there is a link on this YouTube video. I want you to press on it and fill the form, and I'll reach out to you in less than 24 hours. Let's go.